despite hues and cries about its warning of a looming terror attack in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, the United States has stuck to its gun regarding the alert. In an update to the alert, which it gave earlier, the U.S. asked family members of its employees who are resident in Abuja to leave immediately. It stated further that the U.S. mission is ready to evacuate its citizens from Nigeria over the terror attack. Jide, what is this? This is just creating panic, fear, and I don't think it's healthy the way the United States they are going about this thing. Yes, there's a lot of people feel that it would have been better to synergize with the federal government of Nigeria and manage this information than direct communication to start creating panic.
No, it's actually there are people that they sent this message.
It's also affecting us.
When the U.S. issues travel advisory, it becomes something that everyone can pick up. It's just similar to the travel advisory they issue routinely. That, don't go to the south-south, you could be kidnapped. Don't go to the northwest, north-central, you could be kidnapped. But they usually leave the southwest because that's the safest geopolitical zone in our country. Now, in this case, they sense, based on intelligence, that something terrible would happen in Abuja because terrorists are massing up and planning a big bombing attack. They send the message to their people. But beyond the Americans for which this message is meant, other people have picked it up and is already generating tension. The DSS also has a habit of issuing this type of warning. In fact, on the 14th of December 2021, DSS issued a similar warning. On the 19th of March 2020, they issued this kind of warning. On the 26th of April 2022, DSS issued a similar warning. But we usually don't take such warnings by the DSS seriously. As you and I could recall what happened at Kuje prison. The DSS issued the intelligence report that were not dealt with. And those guys came, launched attack on the prison, released their people, you know. But because the Americans were the ones who issued this, and the kind of threat that they told us was hanging over Abuja, people are naturally terrified. If they had not gone to the extent of telling their people to leave and all that, you know, the last time they told their people to leave was during COVID. If they had not told their people to leave, I don't think many Nigerians will see this as such a big deal. It is the actions that they have taken after the warning that are now triggering fear in our people at this time. Because they are now saying, okay, consular services, we are even stopping consular services for now. I just hope that if they can go to this extent, it must mean that they've seen something. And look at the way the Nigerian authorities have responded, especially the military authorities, the armed forces. We have arrested 35 Boko Haram men in the federal capital in the last, let's say, 76 hours. And these guys were planning to attack the federal capital. So it means that there is an element of truth in the warning that the Americans issued. It also means that we must continue to go after those guys to keep our people safe. We can't afford to let what happened in Kuje happen, whereby we refuse to respond to intelligence provided by the DSS, and then that attack came and caught everybody unawares. I think our conduct has to change because it appears even these foreigners do not trust us. People say, oh, they should have shared intelligence that they have. Well, this was meant for their people. I also think that we need to synergize a lot more with our partners, because we need the intelligence that they can provide us. We need even the training that they can give our personnel. When it comes to intelligence, the Americans are the best in the world. So we can actually tap from them the way many countries use Israel, for example, to gather intelligence. So I know that people are terrified at this time, but it's difficult for me to say that in warning their people to be careful in Abuja that the Americans have done anything wrong. It's difficult for me to, because I know this is not the first time, but this one is attracting a lot of attention, well, for reasons best known.
Beyond America, some other countries, they've also told their nationals to, to stay off Abuja. And as a matter of fact, I was told that a flight that was destined to go outside to land in Abuja, as at the day before yesterday, that they had to land in Lagos, and they told their passengers that they couldn't land in Abuja. International flight.
Yeah. I think, just like Babajide said, we've had this kind of warnings even from our own security operatives, especially the DSS. So our problem may not necessarily be lack of information, but lack of enforcement of rules, taking preventive measures to ensure that things like this do not happen. And one is also not clear. Maybe the US had shared this information with Nigerian intelligence, or maybe the US actually received information from the Nigerian intelligence. It's possible, but they have decided to, to make it open. So, but I think it's unfortunate that the US action has been, subjected to a lot of misinterpretation, distortion, and even an attempt to politicize it. Some people are saying, no, America, they should, not interfere in Nigerian affairs. What is their business and all sorts of things. But I think that release is actually to help us to sit up, and for the US to come up with that report and even taking practical actions, other countries are also following. It means that this is more than the usual threat. And I personally think that if one is using deductive reasoning, what is happening it shouldn't be a surprise. We had the Owo incidents, we had the Kuje prison, we had the attack on Kaduna runway, at the airport. So if anybody is saying that they are coming to attack, look at what is going on in Kogi, the surrounding states of Abuja. So if somebody is saying, even if it's not an expert, to just predict that Abuja may be a target, there may be massive bomb campaign, it's just logical from what we have seen over the years. So I think we should see this as a challenge and to learn lessons and to take measures so that the terrorists will not have their way. We should also learn with the way Americans are responding. They are concerned for the lives of their citizens. We don't do that. Look at what happened in Libya, in Ukraine. You see our people stranded everywhere.
Yes.
But these people are talking about the lives of their workers, even lives of their families. So it means, if a country can do this for you, why wouldn't we be prepared to die for that kind of country? They value lives more than we do. So I think it's a lesson for us. And I hope that since now in the public domain, the security operatives, they cannot say they are not aware any longer. They need to take practical action to ensure that the terrorists don't, have their way.
Let's look at the reaction. They give the same advice in South Africa, and that got the reaction from President Ramaphosa, and reacted like we didn't take it lightly with them.
Really? Well, I've had all kinds of reactions. The federal capital, where bandits can operate in its major prison for over an hour, unchallenged, and went into the bush with their people that they have rescued, again unchallenged. Do you think that people will feel comfortable that a terrorist attack cannot happen at any time in such a federal capital? People are blaming the Americans. They believe that they want the whole world to see Nigeria as ungovernable. But we've seen terrorists enter an airport before in this country. They entered an airport. So we have to just respond appropriately. Let the Americans say what they want, but let's step up our efforts to protect our people. This is not a time to be comparing ourselves with them or to be abusing them. In fact, I was saying, I had someone say, "Oh, have they been able to stop school gun attacks? That from time to time terrorists will just enter a school in America and gun down people.
Shoot radically.
America is a country the size of the whole of West Africa. If those things still happen once in a while, you have to give them credit. Nigeria is not even as big as some of its neighbors. Look at a country like Chad, Libya, Niger. They are far bigger than us. Mali, they are far bigger. Mauritania, far bigger than Nigeria in size. Yet to protect our people is a problem. Bandits are killing people for fun. In Zamfara, in Katsina, they are still killing people as if human lives don't matter. In one day, in fact, somebody was sending a message to me that again in Kebbi State, that these guys have gone to Kebbi and killed a lot of people. In one day, they killed 81 persons in one local government in Kebbi State. Do we see that happen in America that we want to compare ourselves with?
I have Ade. Ade is calling us from London. Thank you for joining us, Ade.
Happy Sunday, my brother.
Happy Sunday, Ade.
I want us to look at it in this way. Could it be that the Americans have tapped a conversation that carries among the moles, there are moles in the government or in the armed forces,
Yes.
collaborating with Boko Haram or terrorists? Could it be they have tapped that information, that something big, they are planning it before Christmas or something like that? I don't think this is ordinary Boko Haram. It must be very serious than that. Probably they have tapped something that has to do with moles among the forces or in the government. Let's think deeply that way. For God will save Nigeria. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you, Ade.
So the point that I'm making is let's step up our efforts. We have to praise the DSS. I personally know that it is thanks to the DSS and the armed forces that these guys have not succeeded in carrying out bomb attacks on the federal capital in a long time. Because as they are trying to set up cells, we get information. Look at what happened in Owo. Not many people believe that it was ISWAP. But invariably now, we now know that it's ISWAP. And arrests have been made by the DSS. So they too make this kind of, as I said, they too issue this kind of warning. But we ignore it. But the Americans have issued a warning now. We are abusing them and saying all kinds of things. But our own DSS also issues this kind of warning that we should be careful that bomb attacks will happen. In fact, if not for the efforts of the DSS, the ISWAP tried to organize coordinated bomb attacks on Jigawa, on Kano, and the rest. Remember that fire incident in Sabongeri? That was where they bought some of the explosive devices that they will use, including gas cylinders and all that they wanted to use. But the thing exploded suddenly. So
Thank God.
we need a lot more work to stop this kind of undesirable elements from killing our people. And then attention has to be focused on Lokoja and communities around the state, federal
The active
capital,
cells.
because they are desperate to set up cells in those places from where they can now launch attack on the seat of power. So let's take what has happened, what the Americans have said, as a blessing in disguise. Now we are making gains. We have launched attack in response to this, and we are on the basis of those guys, and we have arrested 35. Let us arrest more. 35 terrorists in the seat of power is dangerous. Even one terrorist in the seat of power is dangerous. So let's do our best to arrest all of these people and stop this doomsday prediction from coming to pass. Once we're able to do that, everyone will be happy.
Okay, I have Akinola on the line. Thank you, Akin.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
go ahead, Akin.
I think one of the challenge of this discussion is they don't want, criticism. It's not all criticism, they just push it away. They need also, to take criticism. If
the Americans said they have these terror groups. It's a part of the country. I think they need to investigate and also, take try and look into it and find out instead of pushing everything away. I think it's not fair.
Thank you, Akin, for your contribution. Wale, that immediately the advisory altered the lifestyle in Abuja. People were indoors. Most people fled the town, and that would affect businesses and commerce.
Yeah, because the U.S. intelligence is not a frivolous organization, and anybody who is conversant with the global intelligence operation should know that with that kind of advice coming from the U.S., people should not take it lightly. At the same time, I think our state governors and the Nigerian government should also know that now that Abuja has been mentioned, does not mean that Abuja will be the only strategic focus of the terrorists. They can actually be a diversion. Since everybody is talking about Abuja now, the terrorists are also very intelligent. They may shift from Abuja to other areas. So state governors should sit up and take precautions to protect their strategic economic and human assets. Abuja is not the only city that is under threat. Every state governor should also see it as a challenge.
Okay. Learning to blow one's own trumpets is sometimes necessary to get the needed accolades to excel more. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has given the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari a pass mark in projects execution and delivery. Fashola said despite shortfall in federal government revenue, the administration has been able to construct and complete more than 8,352 kilometers of roads and created about 339,955 jobs between 2016 to 2022. The minister also stated that the rehabilitation of 12 major roads spanning from 896,187 kilometers across the country within the same period has led to the reduction of travel time by 56.20% and added value to people in the benefiting communities. Gentlemen,